Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about some homeschool advice that I wish I had when I first was starting out. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Shardae. I'm a homeschool mom to 5 children. Their ages are 10, 7, 5, and then my twins are 2.5 years old. And today, like I said in the intro, we're going to talk about some homeschool advice I wish I had. And I kind of had to figure it out as we went through our years. And basically, it's that you don't have to do everything every day. And I know a lot of people, when they start homeschooling, including myself, we want to mimic the classroom. I will add a little caveat. I am homeschooling my children for college. So what that means is that we are very academic around these parts. But also, I want to add that we don't have to be exactly like the classroom. I know that's like the homeschool term, but actually I'm a classical homeschool mom where we are pretty much doing all the things. So for example, we are doing all of our core subjects. So the thing I like to do, and especially if you're starting out, is your core subjects plus one more. So math and language arts, we're going to hit them plus one more. That means history. The plus one more is included for history, science, and art. This is if your kids are younger in elementary school. I'll talk about thoughts that I have about middle school. But all of my kids are in elementary school, 5th grade and down. And that's my rule of thumb. Core plus one more. Math and language arts, everyone's going to hit them for the most part. And then like an extra. Some people like to do, science 2 days a week, pick your days. History 2 days a week, pick your days. And then art on the other. Me, on the other hand, I had started out doing science for 1 week, history for 1 week. But it just, for me, like my mental and I'm not even going to claim it, but just for like the pace of everything, with my schedule, we do 6 weeks on, 1 week off. So for 6 weeks, we're doing science, we're doing our core, and then 1 day a week, we're doing science, and then the next we're off, and the next 6 weeks, we're doing history. And that's for 1 day a week or 2 days a week. It just really depends. And also science might end up being 2 days a week, depending on time. Okay. So, do what works for your family. Do what works for you. I do it that way, the 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, because it allows me for my week off, I get to reset. And basically that means making sure I have, for 6 lessons, I want to make sure that I have all of my materials, ready to go for the next 6 weeks. So I hope that makes sense. The next could be, yes, looping the rest of it. We do hit our art. We hit PE. We hit computer science. We hit like all those things, and that's happening once a week. So the core plus one more. And it's the history and the science that really like throws me for a loop. So that's why we stick to the once a week. So I guess I think I would consider that more like block scheduling. Okay. Another thing is that it's okay to pause. Listen, now don't take too many pause days, okay? Okay. But if you are hitting math and language arts, you're winning. Listen, I have 5 kids, so I'm not telling you to not do those other subjects, but I'm also telling you to preserve your peace, preserve your anxiety. Math and language arts are auxiliary to, history and science are auxiliary to language arts. So a lot of times you're already reading, for me at least, in my language arts curriculum, we are reading some scientific stuff. We are touching some historical things. So it's not like they're not getting it. Okay? Again, I am homeschooling for college. So we do hit the science and the history, but my first year homeschooling, I'm going to be honest, it was like a half a year, to be honest. We started in March. All we did was read. We didn't even do math. We read, because the main thing was I was trying to build my daughter's confidence. We read. That was all we did. The next year, we read I did more of what you would consider language arts. Then like the first 6 weeks, and then the next 6 weeks, I started math. So by the second 12 weeks, well, the second term, we were doing language arts, reading, and math. And then by the third or maybe fourth 6-week term, we had started doing a little bit of a social studies. Okay? This is just being honest. My daughter was first grade when we started, so second grade once we kind of got a full schedule. Also that year, we had added a preschooler to the schedule. So I had a baby, I had a preschooler, and I also had my daughter. That still took less than an hour. Okay? She was one of the kids. She was a student who would just do her work. All right. The next year, I have a baby, I have a toddler, a kindergartner, and a third grader, and I'm also pregnant with twins. So we did as much as we could do. I did not want to lose the pace of what my children were learning. So again, we made sure we hit language arts. We were hitting math every other day towards the end of my pregnancy, but I knew when those babies was coming, I didn't know what life was going to look like. So I didn't want to miss too much of it, right? So I made sure it was language arts and math, language arts and math, language arts and math, language arts and math. All right. So, and we're in the season. I have the twins. We take 6 weeks off. I really wanted to take off 8, but my kids really wanted to go back. All right. They want to go back to school. I'm not quite ready, but I'm going to do what mommy can do. Okay. So we did, for the first week, we did language arts. Oh, the babies sleep all day. Great. We did language arts and math the next week. The first 6 weeks back, we did language arts and math. That was all I could handle. All right. For my kindergartner and third grader. Then I also had, the little toddler. He was kind of, around. Okay. Then the next 6 weeks, we did add, I don't think we did science. We were doing maybe a kitchen science or something, a book from the library. It was nothing serious. Again, my kids were in third grade and kindergarten. So I didn't feel like they were missing out on anything and doing kitchen science experiments. Why not? Okay. That next year, we flowed back into more of a traditional schedule, but we still were doing 6 weeks of science once a week and 6 weeks of history once a week, and then doing our, what are those called? Electives. And now this year, we're still doing that same traditional schedule. Okay? So we're just flowing with my life, with our life, and how, I want to be stress-free. Okay. Also, just because we don't physically open a math book doesn't mean we aren't doing math. So, let's say one day we're cooking. Right now I am in the thick of teaching my kindergarten, or actually he's in the second grade now, my second grader and my fifth grader, around the kitchen. Well, if we have a recipe, I got a recipe book. We have a big family. Most recipes only include up to 4 people. We need to double recipes. You betcha. I'm using my daughter to double those fractions. I'm using my son to double anything that's a whole number. And also my son gets to see my daughter doing those fraction things. So he's around it and it's happening naturally. If I don't open a math book those days, it's not like, okay, we're going to do a recipe doublet. Oh, we don't have to do math. But if I don't open a math book that day, I ain't stressing. I'm not stressing. But also I know we have 4 other days in the week where, okay, we're going to hit those books. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, I want you to breathe. And just remember that homeschooling is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And just because you don't get to check every single thing off every day, it doesn't mean your kid is going to fall behind. It doesn't mean, and it's different from a classroom because, in a classroom, it is a room of 25 kids. So it's hard to reach everyone. You are personally sitting beside your child, giving them the tender care, giving them going at the pace that they need. And the ultimate goal is consistency. When you are consistent, it all adds up. So I'm going to leave you with a Bible verse. It is in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, and it reads, "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven." So I just want to remind you that rhythms and seasons, they don't all happen at once. It happens piece by piece by piece. And you are the piece of the puzzle that your child needs for their education. So if you are, if you made it this far, leave me a thumbs up in the comments, or let me know like how your first years were compared to how you are now. I've been doing this for 8 years and I am not the expert. We are all learning together. So listen, I can take some advice myself, but I have learned there is just so much grace and ease in how I homeschool now, and everyone wants to know, how do you do it? First of all, it's a miracle. It's a miracle of grace, and it is not on my own strength. It is God's, but also I homeschool on the rhythm of my family, not anyone else's. And sometimes I have to put my blinders on and do what's best for me and my family. So, and my kids are not lacking anything. I don't feel like they're lacking anything. Their test scores don't show that they're lacking anything. And so with that being said, if you haven't heard it today, our Heavenly Father loves you, period. Don't forget to drink your water and repent. Bye.